Alright guys, so today I'm using 4 6x6 inch gesso boards. They are pre-primed, and I'm just starting off by putting down the colors where I think I want them, so this way later on I can go ahead and blend them all out. I also want to mention that the solvent I'm using is Gamsol, like always. So as you can see, I don't only use one brush when I paint, I use at least 3 or 4 when I'm painting something like this. I'll keep one brush for the lighter colors, like for the whites and the yellows, and then I'll keep another brush for the darker colors like the grays and the blues. I'll also keep one brush that doesn't have colors on it just to use it for blending so it looks nice and clean. Now when blending out the colors, I prefer to use an angle brush or a flat brush. I just find that it makes the final product look very smooth and crisp, so rather than using like a filbert brush or something like that, I do prefer to use a flat brush or an angle brush. So the right side of the sky isn't complete yet. I just got bored of working on it, so I went ahead and started on the ocean. So with the ocean, what I did was mix some burnt umber, blue, and phthalo green to create that almost black color that you see. I also created some gray, mixing a little bit of burnt umber with more blues and a lot of titanium white. So as you can see, you have to make sure that you add contrast if you want this to look realistic. In order to add depth into the crashing waves, I added some light blue, titanium white, and a little bit of gray. Now it doesn't look like much right now, but soon you're going to see that I'm going to start adding some dots of white, black, gray, blue, and that's going to create that texture that we want in the waves. Now in order to achieve the level of accuracy that I wanted in this painting, I made sure that I had my values in order. So the values are essentially how light and dark the colors are in your painting, and these colors really make a difference in how the final product turns out. So by having the light, middle, and dark values, it makes your painting look more three-dimensional, and they alone can create the whole illusion of form in your painting. So if you don't have your values in check, but you're putting in all the details, it's not going to look up to par as how you want it to look. Alright, so moving on to more finer details, I'm taking a short-handled filbert brush, and this brush is just helping me put in those little specks that I need in the ocean. As you can see here, I'm putting the lines on top of the waves to show where they end and where they begin. Alright, so right here where the wave is breaking down into the rest of the water, I again took my short-handled filbert brush and I dipped it into some titanium white mixed in with a tiny bit of ultramarine blue. And in order to get the rest of the hues, I also just dipped it in some titanium white by itself to create more of that contrast and to give it a more realistic feeling. So for this portion of the painting, I just took a little bit of burnt umber and added it into the other colors that I was just previously using. I'm just going up and down in vertical strokes to give it the illusion of the water coming out of the surface towards you. Okay, so we're going to move back onto the clouds again because I got bored of working on the ocean for so long. So here it looks like there's a sunset going down behind the clouds, and to create this cool color I just mixed some titanium white with a little bit of cadmium yellow and some Caucasian flesh tone. And in between those clouds, I'm just dabbing in a tiny bit of gray to create more dimension into the painting. So it looks like there's some clouds behind it, next to it, and in front of it. So since this portion of the painting has dried, I'm just going back in with some light gray and just adding more details in between. So now I'm just going back in and adding my darker values in. This is just creating more of an illusion of depth inside of the waves, where the waves fold over and where they're crashing over. So this is where taking advantage of your brush really comes in handy. I'm using a round brush here in the bottom right corner of the painting to create where the waves are breaking down. So always take advantage of your brush. Like here I'm using my little filbert brush again and I'm gently dabbing it onto the surface to create those little specks. But with the round brush it's just easier, it takes up less time, and so always just take advantage of your brush. They're made differently for a reason, you know? Alright, so we're reaching the final stretch of this painting, so I'm just going back in with my little filbert again, and I'm adding the last few details that I went in the ocean, adding a lot of little details, as you can see, little lines, dots with the light blue and the titanium white makes the biggest difference, and again I'm just dabbing a little bit more light blue in the ocean to create more depth, and we're almost done!